Good morning. Christina Forbes here, wife of seriously injured worker Lauren Forbes. I did have another part to that one called mental illness that I had put up about a week ago. That was part two, but I kind of watched it this morning again and ran by it, and there was a few things that I'd like to add to that I didn't really feel made the piece whole. So after coming online this morning, I had noticed that there was a few new comments on YouTube, of course, underneath the mental illness that I'd like to touch base on. That I really figured that that Super Noof had mentioned that's really important, that fits in with the mental illness and what I was talking about in the mental illness video. So now we've got not one but two. Incidences of mental illness that are getting out there. Now, I had mentioned, we're going to start seeing more and more and more of this type of drastic behavior by injured workers because they're suffering alone, and they shouldn't have to prove themselves and prove their injuries. So, and as we all are well aware of, the Workers' Compensation Board right across Canada, whether it be here in BC, in Ontario, which definitely these days seems to be getting a lot of attention, and Yukon, NWT, wherever you are, right across Canada, our Workers' Compensation Board is in dire straits. It's awful. And I've been doing a lot of reading too, which will all kind of fall into this mental illness category, because Workers' Compensation Board policies, practices, their act, amendments, whatever you choose to word it up into, those choices that they make for the injured worker, there's policies and stuff like that, those decisions are causing direct mental illness. So, Mr. Thompson, suffered mental illness. I'll correct myself there, as I noticed someone was nice enough to correct it for me, and thank you very much. That the man in the Fraser Valley there a couple of weeks ago had suffered his mental illness for 8 years, or a long time, and had spent some time in a mental illness facility, a marriage falling apart, no longer allowed to see his kids, order against him, and so on and so forth. And then we'll take the gentleman that Super Noof had mentioned in Ontario, where his daughter was pleading out there, who had suffered mental illness as a direct cause of a brain injury that he suffered from a work incident here in BC back in the late 80s, I do believe he mentioned, where he actually stabbed his daughter, or his daughter's boyfriend, pardon me, because he thought he was a WCB spy. and this is the kind of stuff that's happening now. This is a very sensitive subject for me, and I'm going to lay it right on my sleeve here for you guys. Lauren's not doing well. Not well at all. And you guys, other seriously injured workers, John, all of you guys that have ever are currently there, he's suffering mental illness. I can see it unfolding before me, and I'm helpless to do anything fucking about it. I'm finding myself seeing it happen, knowing that it's happening, sympathetic to it, of course, and I just don't know how to help him. So, which brings me into, I've got like a million things when it comes to mental illness that run through my mind, like the issues that cause mental illness. It doesn't necessarily have to be an injury from like a brain injury, but just dealing with workers' compensation period causes fucking mental illness. On top of the possible mental illness that you might suffer as a result of your injury, like Lauren suffers post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of his injury, as a result of his fall that he had, and then of course the serious injury that he sustained a couple months before that when he broke his back in 3 spots. So this is where we sit, family and so on, like Mr. Thompson's family, where they're simply saying, that's all his life was consumed with. And that's exactly where Lauren sits. That's where so many thousands of other seriously injured workers, like John, like me, and I'm not even an injured worker, I'm just the wife of a seriously injured worker. It consumes your whole life. And injured workers get into spirals of depression that just are not, they cannot come back from. And so injured workers, and a lot of serious injured workers will know this, when you go off to pain programs and other programs with Workers' Compensation Board, they throw these mental evaluation things at you, like I've talked about them in other videos and stuff like that, where they get you to self-evaluate yourself, and they send you off to wherever, and more pain programs and more self-evaluation things. And of course, in that course, someone has, of course, diagnosed Lauren with massive depressive disorder, which is true, very true. He suffers and I swear, every seriously injured worker suffers massive depressive disorder as a direct result of dealing with the Workers' Compensation Board here in Canada, whether it be here in BC, Ontario, Newfoundland, wherever you go, right across Canada. And that's what's bringing this kind of behavior about that we see in Mr. Thompson, we see in the man in the Fraser Valley, we're seeing, poor John last year at this house, this kind of pouring outcry, where injured workers need some attention. This whole system needs to be overhauled. Now, I was reading in the Canadian Injured Workers Forum that in come 2010, they want to actually remove their policies for like decision making, I guess that would be, where they want to, right now they have to give you their decision and their evidence to their decisions and their reasons behind making those decisions. Well, by 2010, they don't want to have to provide the evidence and their reasons behind their decisions, which makes going to WCAT impossible. Which kind of got me thinking, are they going to remove the WCAT system? What's going on there, right? So all of these kind of things, like these continuous amendments and things like that to the injured workers system and stuff like that, all causing mental illness, direct mental illness. Dealing with fucking WCB adjudicators and vocational rehabilitation consultants that don't know you causes mental illness. Like Lauren's team that he has, his actual WCB or WorkSafe BC adjudicator, Donna Desher, isn't even actually here on Vancouver Island. She's in Kamloops. All of her letterhead comes from Kamloops. She's in some office in Kamloops. Now, this detachment that they place makes it easier for adjudicators, vocational rehabilitation consultants, and so forth to say no, because there's no personalization there. There's no face. It's a number. And so there's no, I don't know how to say it any other way. There's detachment, pretty much. That's all I can chalk it up to. Again, leading and contributing to the mental illness, right? We got someone half a province away making choices on a seriously injured worker's life knows nothing about. Then we'll take his vocational rehabilitation consultant, Sheila was a case. She's in Courtney. Seen the lady once. That was seedy. We'll talk about that later, though. And his other people, like medical assistants and stuff, never seen any of those people. Like this Dr. Jarman that WorkSafe BC loves so much, never actually seen Lauren. So all of this kind of this mandate policy practices all lead to mental illness, direct mental illness. So I'm almost running at the 10-minute mark, and it's hard to upload anything after 10 minutes, but I really wanted to get into spouses and support and things like that injured workers lose as a result of their injuries and dealing with workers' compensation and so forth. And I really wanted to talk a little bit more about how Lauren's doing, but I kind of got off into a little rant there. Still working on my first cup of coffee this morning, as that's usually the time of the day that I get most peace and quiet around here. So thank you again, everybody, for keep on watching. This will fucking go somewhere, I promise you guys. Okay, we've almost got 10,000 views. Fucking rock on.